So before you spend 20, 30,000 pounds, here's something that YouTube doesn't tell you. Right, welcome back to Mid-Bike Crisis. And as you can see today, I'm not inside Mid-Bike Crisis garage. Where am I? Well, I'm going to open the door and go for a little wander and tell you all about where I am today. So can you guess where I am? So I'm currently on vacation in Florida and hired a gorgeous, gorgeous villa, as you can see behind me. So I've been here for nearly 2 weeks. Anyway, by the time you see this video, I'll be back in the UK in Mid-Bike Crisis Man Cave. But let's have a little wander around the residence because I've got a little video that I want to talk to you about. But before I get into the video, I thought I'd just let you all have a little look around the neighbourhood. So that's our villa. I think you call them a villa here in America. And when Oliver finished school, we promised him that we'd take him to America to do all the Disney, Universal Studios thing, etc, etc. And I took Grace and Ruby, my daughters, probably about 17 years ago, 18 years ago. So it's a long time since we've been back here, but this is where we've been staying. Haverhill Way. It's lovely. It's really, really nice. And what did I pay for the villa? It was around £1,200, I think, for 2 weeks. So not bad. Not bad for America for sort of peak season. Just across the road. So not too bad. And I got the fly drive for just over £2,000 for 3 of us. So not a fortune, but what you don't realise is when you get here to America, it's all the extras, Universal Studios, Disney Studios, all the food, etc, etc. So it can soon stack up. So bear that in mind if you come to America. And I've walked right past this bird. Look at this bird here. And there's definitely alligators in this. There's one there. How crazy is that? Look at that alligator. There we go. Been here nearly 2 weeks and not seen an alligator. It's the first one. What are the chances of that? So there you go. Lovely little alligator. So if you're like me and you watch YouTube, you'd probably think owning a Superbike is absolute pure perfection. They're unbelievably fast, packed full, absolutely full of technology. And to look at, well, absolutely stunning. But after owning several Superbikes, I've realised loads of things that nobody really talks about. Some are brilliant, some are fantastic, and a few genuinely surprised me. So before you spend 20, 30,000 pounds, here's something that YouTube doesn't tell you. So welcome back to Mid-Bike Crisis, guys. And today, as I said previously, I'm here filming in the United States of America on our family vacation. But by the time you watch the video, like as I said earlier, I'm back in the UK and I'll be riding bikes and doing the normal type of vlog reviews that you all love to watch. So after years of owning sports bikes and super bikes, I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to walk around this beautiful Florida sunshine and have a little chat and talk to you about what it's really like to own a superbike. So the first thing nobody tells you is modern superbikes are almost too capable. My 2025 Fireblade SP it's an incredible machine, but on public roads you really get anywhere near its limits. You'd be lucky if you're using 20%, honestly, trust me. The chassis, the brakes, the electronics, they're all capable of so much more than you can legally and safely use. And bear in mind, this bike, this Fireblade, it'll do 100 miles an hour in first gear. Just let that sink in. And that's why so many owners eventually fall in love with track days. So secondly, the technology is absolutely incredible. One thing that completely amazed me is just how confident modern electronics give you. You've got traction control, cornering ABS, wheelie control. What else have we got? Engine braking, riding modes, quick shifters, blippers, you name it, you've got it on these electronic superbikes. And years ago, with all these analog bikes, you had to almost entirely rely on your own ability. Now the bike is, I suppose it's quietly helping you every single time that you go out riding. It's not cheating, I'd say it's progress. And one thing with owning a 20 or 30,000 pound superbike is you become overprotective. So this one made me laugh because I never expected it, to be honest, but when you've spent a lot of money on a bike, you become protective over the bike. You tend to park away from other bikes so you're not so close. You've seen it all happen at bike cafes. Someone parking the bike or getting into the space and pulling out, and they've knocked over the bikes, and you've got that domino effect. It's happened, and I've seen it happen. And I've seen it happen on a brand new Fireblade as well at Seaways Cafe at Fridaythorpe. There was a GS, I think, it was a GS. He was backpedaling with his pillion on the back, so you can imagine the weight of that thing. Pillion started leaning over, and the bike went over. Domino effect. I think 4 bikes went over, and the last bike that went over was a brand new Fireblade. So if you're watching this video and that was your Fireblade, I think that was probably 2 years ago, 2024, at Seaways, drop in the comments. But I was gutted. You just heard this ding, 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 ding. So that's why to be fair, I probably do it with most of my bikes. I tend to park not so close, or I'll park with enough space that if the bike next to me goes over, it's not going to hit the bike. That's just looking after your investment in it and the things that you love. So what else do you avoid? Well, I avoid gravel. I hate going over gravel, and in the UK, when the roads have just been resurfaced, we have this horrible stuff called gravel, and you've all been there and you've all ridden over it, and it's horrible. You can just hear it kicking up all the gravel on the underneath of your bike. It's just a horrible, horrible sound. So, and you worry about stone chips, and I've got a couple of stone chips on my new Fireblade underneath. So it's part and parcel of riding a bike. It's going to happen, but riding an expensive superbike, these are things that I'm sure that you do think about more than a cheaper bike that you're not probably so precious about. So owning an expensive superbike, it really does change how you think. So everyone knows how expensive they are to buy, but what people don't talk about enough is the running costs. Tyres on superbikes generally don't last as long as a normal bike because the compounds are a lot softer on the tyres that come with superbikes, so the tread pattern, it does wear down a lot quicker than a standard road tyre. Servicing isn't that cheap. I won't say it's overly expensive, but service on a superbike definitely can be 50, 60, 70% more than a standard service on a non-superbike. Insurance, that can be eye-watering, and I've had conversations with people who have paid 2, 3, 4, and would you believe £5,000 on insurance, insuring a Fireblade living in London. It's absolutely crazy. What do I pay for my insurance? Well, I pay just over £600 for fully comprehensive insurance on the Fireblade, and all my bikes combined, my insurance is about £1,300, I think, and I've got quite a few bikes in the collection. So how the insurance works is they take the highest value bike in your collection, and that's how the multi-bike premium is based on the highest bike value. So the highest bike value in my collection is the Honda Fireblade at £23,500. So that's how it goes. So just over 600 quid it works out for the premium for the Fireblade. I don't think that's too bad considering the value of the motorbike. You also want to be putting in premium fuel into the bike. You don't want to be putting the cheap garbage in it. So again, that soon adds up. When you're getting about 100 miles to a tank on the Fireblade, you can soon quickly be chucking in 40, 50, 60 quid if you're going for a ride out for the day. And I just had to take a second glance there because that alligator that was there earlier, I just had a splash here. And I'm probably taking a little bit of a gamble and a bit of a risk filming this down on this sort of water's edge. As you saw earlier, alligators are definitely here, and I'm really happy that I've been able to show you guys an alligator because, you know, we've been here for 2 weeks and not seen an alligator, so I'm super excited about that. So yeah, premium fuel, it does add up. And before long, you've convinced yourself you absolutely need some new parts, some new carbon bits. But, well, apparently carbon fibre makes your wallet lighter and that's about it. So superbikes definitely attract attention. So whether you like it or not, people definitely notice superbikes. Kids love them, petrol heads want to chat. You'll get questions every single time that you stop for fuel. Mostly it's positive. I have really positive interactions with people and people want to have a look at the bike, take a picture. Kids want to rev the thing. It's a real good talking point, but sometimes you just want to get your fuel and go. But generally, I'll always have time. I'll always chat to people about the Fireblade. Now, here's something I didn't expect. And once you've lived with a superbike and the electronics, the suspension, the brakes, older sports bikes like my 954 or the 1000RR Repsol suddenly feel much more raw. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, sometimes it's exactly why I enjoy riding older bikes as well. They're completely different experiences. But the biggest surprise for me, it isn't the top speed, it isn't the horsepower, it's walking into the garage, seeing your dream bike just sitting there. And knowing you've worked extremely hard for it, it just makes you feel so good when you look at the bike. That feeling, honestly, never goes away. So guys, would I recommend buying a modern superbike? Absolutely, 100%. They're some of the most incredible motorcycles ever built. Just don't buy one expecting to use a 200+ horsepower every Sunday morning. Buy one because you simply love motorcycles. Buy one because every time you open the garage door, it makes you smile. And honestly, that alone makes it all worthwhile. So if you've owned a modern superbike, let me know in the comments. What's the one thing nobody warned you about? And if you're thinking of buying your first one, I'd love to know which bike you've got your eye on. Thanks for watching, guys. Ride safe, spread love, and I'll see you all real soon on the next video. I'm going alligator hunting now. Catch you all soon.